In one speech, you've told me that the police can't be held solely responsible for knife crime, and then you blamed it all on our cuts. Interesting. If you feel so strongly about fighting knife crime, why have you only mentioned crime once in Parliament, according to Hansard?
Yes.
I'm being corrected.
Seena Shah said I haven't spoken once in Parliament, and I've just done a quick set. I've spoken 5 times on issues around youth crime, I've spoken 5 times on issues around youth crime, knife crime, gang crime, and so on. I can't. My iPad's not working, but in the first 4 pages of searches on written questions, I asked 4 relevant questions, and that suggests I've probably asked around 12 or 15 relevant questions around youth crime, knife crime, and so on. People, often young people, who are injured and sometimes killed by knife crime, are killed and injured by the person wielding the knife. But why have we got to where we've got in that situation? Of course, a young man was killed just up the road in West Ealing last night, and a young man was killed in Isleworth in March, I think. The core issue is the cuts in the police and the other public services that lead to the position where young people are carrying knives and using them against each other. Now, you can bring in other issues like drugs and organised crime and so on, and they are there. But Dominic is right. We have seen a significant cut in police in London, and particularly the community police teams have been halved in the last, 4 or 5 years? We have committed to nationally increase the police recruitment by 22,000 net, but we also can't put the responsibility all on the police. A lot of the youngsters who are caught up in violent crime or are caught up in drugs and gangs are often youngsters who've been failed in ways, and often as a result of cuts in public services. Now, one of the issues that came up again and again in the public meeting, and comes up again and again in my casework and letters and so on, is the cuts in special educational needs support in schools. Because many children are losing out on their education because there aren't the resources to support them with their emotional needs, family issues. They may be dyslexic, it takes time to diagnose, and they lose confidence and they kick out at school or at home or whatever. We've had increasing issues about homelessness, overcrowding. Youngsters are having to be out on the street because there literally is no room at home, or there's violence, often as a result, and aggression and stress as a result of family problems. So there's a whole host of problems. And the other is young people who have come into the criminal justice system don't get the deal they need. Now, many young people, particularly under 21s, are not mature. They need additional support to help them back into the kind of opportunities that my children have had and have got. And the court system has been cut back. So too many youngsters are being left at the door of the court, just go out and do something. The probation service has been cut thanks to Chris Grayling's privatisation of London's probation services. Not a simple answer, but many of the causes can be put quite squarely at the door of the Conservative-led government and the austerity that has cut back the public services over the last 9 years.
The Conservative government, the manifesto that we have announced yesterday, is one that is going to deliver, and already has started to deliver, 20,000 more police officers. We recognise that we need a more uniform presence on streets.
Order.
However, sorting out knife crime is not a simplistic police fix-it-all problem. We also need to look at education and youth services. We also need to look at how families are interacting at home and what effect that has on children. I agree we need to look at where children go when the home is not safe. But I think more importantly, we need to find ways to crack down on ever increasingly sinister and clever organised criminal gangs. It is the gangs that are the enemy here, not... There are well, Boris Johnson is putting 20,000 more officers on the street.
Order. Seena, continue.
Thank you. And just in case anyone's questioning it, I've got an A in maths, thank you. Look, at the end of the day, our police officers must be safe when they are carrying out their duties. We need to empower them with the rights to stop and search, and if we're so keen on cracking down on crime in this capital city, we need to urge Sadiq Khan to reduce his PR budget and put it into policing and give the police the powers to stop crime by stop and search, by using knife archers in train stations, at schools, and make it completely unacceptable and completely obscure to carry knives. It's not okay to carry knives, and we need to send that message home loud and clear.
So it does sound like Seena thinks it's all down to the police and just cracking down hard on young people. I'd like to know when the hardened criminals start and the children finish. You know, if you're, when you're actually dealing with this. We have a very clear policy on this. Oh, sorry, I do have to. For all the people who shouted out, you are literally not quite restoring the police officers you cut. Just please. This is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, to suggest that you're doing anything other than doing slightly less than you should is ridiculous. Now, we have a policy as the Liberal Democrats to treat knife crime as with a public health approach, because we, similar to Ruth's position, agree that this is a far more complex decision. However, we do actually think community policing is absolutely crucial. We are going to plough £1 billion into community policing. That's equivalent to 2 more police officers per every ward in the country. And but we actually are looking very much to support this with integrated youth services. Really, we're doubling the funding for youth services.
And all the research shows that with inequality comes more crime. It's not a coincidence that we're a very unequal society. We've had a lot of cuts in recent times, and it's no coincidence that we're seeing a greater epidemic of knife crime. That's what's the cause of it. It's the inequality. And of course, in my opening speech, I said that as part of the project of the Green Party is to tackle that inequality.
It's a gang leader.
Order.
Yeah. So if I could continue, please. So I agree with Helen. This is a public health issue.